Hey, welcome to the video. Today we're going to be taking a look at a pair of RGB LED panel lights, the Fositan L5000RPs, I believe they're called. I've got one here as kind of a rim light, and I have one here just out of frame as my key light. Full disclosure, Fositan, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, sent me these lights in order to make a video on, but they don't have any input on this video, nor do they get to see it before you do. So there's that. As you can maybe see, it's kind of hard. This is really close to me as well. So you can kind of see how small these lights are. They're about, I don't know, 7, 8 inches across. So they're not like full 1x panel lights. They do come with soft boxes, and I do have the soft box on this light. And with the diameter of the soft box, or the dimensions of it, I should say, it does become more like a 1x panel light. They're also 24-watt lights, so they're not incredibly bright. If you are starting out doing content creation, YouTube streaming, that kind of thing, and you don't have anything, and you say particularly like the look of like the RGB lights that are increasingly popular, then these might be a decent solution for maybe your first light investment. If you do just want a key light, and you might not care so much about the RGB functionality, then I think there's a lot more options out there that are A, cheaper, B, brighter. You can see that they do work as a key light. However, this is extremely close to me. I can reach out and touch it. The flat of my palm is like resting comfortably on the surface of the softbox, which isn't a problem because they're dead silent. They are only 24 watts, so they don't draw a lot of power, and therefore they don't generate a lot of heat. So they're not going to be something that you have to worry about in terms of your audio. I have my shotgun mic right here as well. You could also potentially double these up if you wanted to use both of them as a key light and just put them side by side. That would increase your output, increase the size of the light that you're getting. So that could be an option. But of course, then you're losing out on having like an RGB rim light, backlight, or just accent light or something like that. Let me give you the negatives. So let me just cut to the chase and give you the negatives. You get a lot of extra stuff with these lights, some of it of questionable quality. The 2 light stands that you get with it are pretty cheap. They're very kind of plasticky, they're very wobbly. They definitely hold these lights because again, they're not very big, they don't weigh a whole lot, no problem. But I would definitely have reservations about trying to put bigger lights and modifiers on them if you wanted to just use them as general purpose light stands. Remote control that you get with it is kind of a toy. It is a toy. It's really cheesy. It's really chintzy. It's hard to use. It's hard to pair the lights with it. It's hard to set the lights on different channels. So I would just forego the remote altogether. Like just controlling all the different functions or really dialing in the color and the brightness on the remote is just a pain in the butt. Secondly, the app is really like a general purpose control app that looks like you can control a whole bunch of household appliances with it. And maybe Fositan like licensed it to use with these lights, so it's not tailor-made for these lights. Also, it asks you for permissions to access just about everything on your phone for I don't know why. So also the app for me is like a no-go. I wouldn't even use it. Physically, the lights aren't too bad. The build quality is pretty decent. It's kind of a combo of like some dense and hard plastic and some metal. The controls, the knobs, the buttons all feel decent. But one of my lights, there's an effects mode on these lights as well. One of the lights, the effects mode doesn't work at all. The other light, only like half the effects work. So I don't know if that's a QC issue or if that's going to be an across-the-board problem. On the other hand, the lighting effects that they do offer aren't anything to write home about, so you're not really missing out. But that's like 3 features of these lights, 3 things that you get with these lights that, in my opinion, just don't really work. You do get a carrying case, and it's also of pretty negligible quality. Like the zipper feels like it's just gonna pop off the track really at any moment, and the material and everything is not very sturdy. It definitely does the job if you just, throw the lights in there gently, set the lights in there and just set it on a shelf to put them away. But if you were thinking about, using that bag to carry these lights around to different locations, I just don't think it's gonna hold up. All of those things, potentially, the light stand, the bag, are nice to haves. So it's nice that they're included, and for the price, I wouldn't necessarily expect them to be the highest quality. I did mention that the lights themselves are relatively well built. The controls on them are kind of difficult to work with until you figure out how they're working. So the dial that controls the hue saturation controls in the HSI mode. Like if you spin it really fast thinking you're going to go from one end to the other really quickly, it only moves like minutely in increments of 3, and it'll take you 30 seconds or more to get from 0 all the way up to 360. However, if you turn it more slowly, it'll actually jump in increments of like 15. So it's a little bit counterintuitive. Same thing with the brightness control. If you turn it really fast, it'll just go in increments of 1. If you turn it more slowly, I think it jumps in increments of 5. So it just works a little bit opposite of what you might expect, but once you figure that out, it's not too bad. You'll see some other things in B-roll, and I'll just comment on them really quickly. When you do have the barn doors and also the softbox, you really have not a pretty limited range about how much you can tilt the light downward because it just gets in the way of the yoke. When you don't have any of the modifiers on the lights themselves, you can spin them around freely 360 degrees. You do get a power adapter for both of the lights, so plug them into the wall. The cables aren't super long. That's kind of an issue if you wanted to boom the lights up kind of high. You are going to have like kind of a taut cable. So maybe think about an extension. They can be powered, the lights, by Sony NP style batteries, and I actually have both lights running on an NP style battery here. I haven't done any sort of like usage test, but judging by the fact that these aren't super high powered lights, if you have the big 970 batteries like I do, I'd imagine they're going to be powering these lights for several hours at the least. I have been using these for several months. I've actually been sitting on these for a couple months now before making a video. And I've been using these a lot in my videos, both for like background lights to just kind of light up the walls, different colors, and also for B-roll, product shots, that kind of thing, and maybe also some thumbnail photos. So I do really like them, but I'm not like wholeheartedly gonna say that you should run out and buy these. So the positives, again, the quality of the lights are pretty good. The quality of the light seems fine. I do like all the different colors. You have a bicolor mode as well that I didn't mention. So you've got the HSI mode, which is your hue, saturation, intensity mode, which allows you to dial in very specific colors, also their saturation and the brightness. And then you've got the CCT or bicolor mode, which allows you to adjust the color temperature from 3200 Kelvin up to 5600 Kelvin. And then of course you've got the effects mode, but again, that doesn't really work. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. It's hard for me to recommend these considering all of the negatives, but if you can overlook the remote control, the app, kind of the chintzy light stands, and the less than optimal effects mode, then you still do get a decent amount of value from these lights. But I would say maybe hold off until they have like a revision. There's definitely some quality things that they could work out, actually develop an app in-house or have someone develop it for them. And please don't ask for like every permission on our phones in order to operate the app. That's just not cool. All right, so that's it. I really appreciate you watching this video. If you want to see more videos about lighting, maybe check out this playlist, which is on the screen somewhere next to my head. Otherwise, appreciate it, and maybe I'll see you next time.